pay attention. Obviously, the daily, like we're one time framing down, we've got lower highs, lower lows every day. And so, just knowing that and knowing that we're kind of below the bulk of the last 2 days of trading action today, you should have been pretty prepared to take profits quickly and even scalp short. Uh, Pretty self-explanatory. I think tomorrow, coming into the day, we're really just looking at the same idea, in my opinion. I'd be looking at the 4100 area again. And on the upside today, really, you're just looking for any kind of explosive move upward out of this 4130-ish spot. And you can see we're already trading above there now. And so you're kind of looking for this pattern to break. Again, I'd be a little cautious on both sides. Personally, I don't think this is great trading action, except for maybe scalping that 4100 area. Just because right here, you don't really know if this is a minor pullback. You've risked off this good spot. Cool, maybe you swung some. Like, that's a fine idea. But, I mean, to me, this kind of looks like a market that's really just going into a really shitty balance. And I don't know, I'm kind of staying away from it for now. I added to a couple shorts today just because I saw some of my shorts getting follow through. And so I did add to a couple positions in that regard, but nothing too big here. I'm just pretty much all is my main position. Um, yeah, I don't know, not much to say. I'm looking for, again, I've said it a million times, but post OPEX this month, in particular, February 20th, like this is the area. We did kind of hit my all-in area, and I got puts. The weekly ones didn't do so well. I mean, they did, but I didn't really manage them because I wasn't really paying attention. But the monthly ones are up nice. I took a little profit today, and really, like, that's just because, again, we're in an uptrending market, and this is the spot that we need to kind of fail. If it's going to be a failed breakout, it needs to lose this spot, and right now it's not. So you just have to play patient when you're trying to time a top like this. And the market's in balance, so play the balance and look for that February 20th to be a significant time event where the market can really uh, become weak again after a lot of hedges roll off. And, you might get like a day or two or so after OPEX. I think that Wednesday's expiration would be an important date to watch, which would be like the 15th. Is that when the expiration is? It's 17th. Yeah, so it's the 17th. So often you'll see like there might be some weakness in this area here, and then you'll kind of get a little bit of a bounce because hedges are rolling off and dealers are buying back the stock that they've shorted because they're short the puts that people are buying. And so you'll maybe see in this time period here that you get a little bit of like some selling but it rallies back because dealers are buying back that stock that they're short. And then typically after that effect rolls off, you're really looking into this next week or so, the 20th to 24th, for some real weakness to begin. And yeah, obviously technicals come first, and so watch these important levels no matter what date it is. But I would pay attention to those dates, and I think worst case as far as being a bear, that we could rally again. This has always been my long-term kind of resistance zone, and 4,400. Sure, it's totally possible in the next 2 weeks. I don't know if it's going to happen. You just got to pay attention to the technicals and trade it day to day, and risk off the appropriate areas. But this remains like what I think for 2023 will be the top of the market, and I see the rest of the year being somewhat grindy, but with some volatile periods like later this month. And if we don't get a really big crash and kind of start liquidating these longs during that time, I do still think we'll get a correction. But if it does end up finding the floor and kind of bouncing back up in the middle of March, end of March, then play along with that and go long and look for that next period in about May that is typically weaker. And maybe that comes from some 43 or 4,400. I don't know right now, but just keep watching for that stuff. And again, yeah, I mean, our dealer positioning here, It's still not that high compared to what it used to be. We're getting these spikes up, but after the market corrects a little bit, we're just it's going right back down, and so we're looking for this GX here to actually stay elevated as the market comes down, um, or get a really big spike on a rally that's a little abnormal, and we just aren't seeing that right now. Um, and so I'm looking for that. I'm watching for some sort of activity in that regard. And skew's gotten better as far as getting higher up. People are getting more bullish. I see it on Twitter recently in the last 2 or 3 weeks that people are getting a lot more bullish. Obviously, like the break of that trend line, and you have people that are very strictly like technical traders, and a lot of those types of people, they're getting really bullish. Your kind of average Joe trader is getting pretty bullish because he sees the market going up every day, and so I think these things are good as far as progressing with the thinking and the mindset and the positioning of retail traders is getting more bullish, and it's going to allow the market to not have such a floor and have such a condensed volatility, which has been really just honestly annoying, I'm sure, as day traders lately. You typically will see the European session's been getting all the fills, and then they'll just fuck over the US session. So I'm kind of glad I haven't been actively trading. But this is progress for bears. I think positioning is getting more bullish, and it's still not that high relative to previous like years, but um, I think it's progress for those that believe that there's a more volatile event coming. So that's kind of where I'm at with the macro stuff. Just taking it day by day. I'm really just kind of waiting, watching this 4100 level for now. And if it doesn't break, I'm assuming we kind of just grind higher again, sideways to higher. And I'm watching in about 2 weeks' time for something to make me pay a little more attention to. So.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm swinging some shorts.
All right.
Yeah, I'm playing some Moderna, looking for a continuation under this 170.
Oh, no, it's fine.
I mean, I'm still knees deep in long dated spy shorts,
Yeah.
but as for alert wise, yeah, got everyone swinging some Moderna shorts.
Yeah, dude, I wanted to short this. Man, I was hoping it would go higher. I really liked this setup. That's interesting. I haven't looked at it in a bit. I just was hoping I could get like 250 for it, but whatever.
And that'd be nice. Shit.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. So, we got. Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Pretty bad close. Doesn't look like it's really closed down there at all. Yeah. Sure.
Here. Just 170's been an absolute floor, and we've built a bunch of value here down at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just expecting some poor market sentiment to help us carry us down.
Yeah. Cool.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
So, one thing I gotta keep an eye on is Tesla. We had about a 2/3 of an ATR day today, pretty small day, and pretty tight, pretty much all located right around 195. It's uptrending. It's a big growth stock. and it's at a really kind of critical level here, just above. To me, that for an options trader, that's something that I would be pretty interested in. And to me, like it's uptrending and it's holding above a major moving average. And I'd be interested if this could go tap 200. I think it's a pretty good setup for an intraday trade, and I think a spike of these highs is pretty warranted. So I do think kind of targeting a little over 200 on that uh, and can bode pretty well. It is very extended. I wouldn't go crazy big in it, but I think the setup's there. That's something I noticed earlier, and I think, yeah, it's something to definitely watch in the coming days here. And yeah, I think with ES over 4100, the hold today, it's still kind of just bouncing, but it's not bearish. You know, it's for sure still it's holding and it's uptrending and it's holding where it needs to. So I can't really look at that and say that anything about it's bearish other than the short-term pullback. But there hasn't been any macro structure really broken. So I think as long as we're holding 4100, I'd keep eyes on this one for a little run over 200. And then let's see, what else do we have? We had, I know AMD and NVIDIA. Let's kind of back these out a bit. Oh, where? It's pretty extended. I'd probably just wait to kind of let that balance out. And then it's 210. I don't know if I'd really do much with that either. Whatever, this top out somewhere. So. Oh wow. All the way back down, huh? Fuck. Okay. I probably wouldn't touch that. And what else is there? There's set earnings. Yeah, had earnings. Piton. Oh yeah, it was kind of good. Piton, I added a little short today, not too much, but to me, I don't know. It's a pretty good sign that it kind of came into this lower volume area, and it had this pretty sharp top here, this kind of XSC top, and we got some follow through today and moved under this last 2 days of action. So to me, I don't know, it's some sort of progress. I still think maybe it could kind of go around in here a bit, but it looks a little toppy, so I added some short. I'm going to keep eyes as this balance develops and possibly short more. I would kind of just keep eyes on this as well if I were you, because the risk reward's pretty good as far as like a swing long or a swing short. It's still a little early, but just watch as this balance develops in the next couple days here, and be watching for opportunities to short intraday, and then see if it kind of turns into a swing. If I was more active, I'd like this is something I would be focusing on a lot intraday to try and nail, certain intraday moves. Very simple. Like one recently, it was like, okay, we had these highs here, right, and then we have these kind of lows that we're holding, and so you kind of use that as your low volume area, and once you kind of gap below, you see you're gapping below the last 2 days of value. Okay, you can kind of look going intraday, go on a smaller time frame, and look for like an opening range breakout that fails or some sort of excess high that's outside of value. So you have a pre-market high here, pre-market low here. You pop the pre-market high and you come below and you start holding, and like that's where you get short against the high. Very simple just use those kind of references, and that's what I'd be looking for on this one in the coming days. And for the next, as long as it's kind of in this balance here, I'd be looking for that kind of stuff. What else? Yeah.
So I was looking at DHI in a similar way. You want to tell me what you think on that one, Mo?
DHI.
Yeah.
I am. Yeah, that looks pretty good actually, because like it's also at the top of that daily balance. Yeah, I mean, I would say this is more the area, but
Okay.
they kind of have this close and this high. That could be like there's something to risk off of here. I think you definitely want to see it.
Okay.
Below this, whoops, below this area though. That's where the kind of bulk of the balance was. But yeah, I don't mind the shorts there. It just kind of seems like not as important, but yeah, I don't know, maybe. It's certainly a place like you can risk against, like even today, like it worked, 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just watching it for now, but I'm thinking about taking something if the market's going to reverse. I think the home builders can take. They've been on a nice run, so.
Yeah, no kidding. Dude, I used to hold this thing. So when did I own that? Yeah, it was back here. What was the other one that I owned? It was like, what's the other big one? It's like, Len. Yeah.
Gosh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the ticker either.
Yeah, it's Len or Corp.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's an interesting one. Like it. What we're about. Okay, so who has earnings on Wednesday after? This is something that could set up nice after earnings. Because you have this really big run. I'm definitely watching this after earnings because I like this as a short. But it's just got a very clean balance. So if earnings or like in the days or weeks after earnings, like we can either get a spike and like make a lower high maybe in here, or if we like pop the highs and come up in here and then kind of fail back under this level sort of thing. I'm looking for any sort of setup like that where I could like potentially short, because I mean you just have a lot of chasey type of longs here, and you've got it's a very, I think, crowded trade when you see something just going kind of straight up into a pretty well known long term resistance area. It's a mix of short covering because you had a lot of people shorting this like bear flag breakdown. So you have a ton of shorts covering. You have new longs, and in order to get that to change, I think you need some sort of kind of blow off event, and maybe earnings is it. So I just watch earnings in the days after earnings, and maybe look for some really important level like this or a spike of this level to kind of stop out the last of the shorts and have a ton of volume on that day type of thing, and then potentially top. But again, doesn't have to be earnings, but I'm also, like I've said, targeting in a couple weeks for more of topping, some serious topping and potential serious selling to happen. So I'll be watching from earnings all the way kind of until that time period. On Hood, I do think it's a pretty clean setup just with the levels that it has, and then the amount of kind of people chasing and the amount of shorts that have gotten out. I think it's nearing its time period, so I watched that one. Melly's another one that I've been shorting periodically. It hasn't been doing very well for me, but long-term picture, this is it's coming into this area here, and so I do think this is like one that needs to be watched, now. And as it starts to balance out here, the risk reward on the short side is very, very, very good. And you have, all this kind of balance, all these shorts getting squeezed. And, now, yeah, it might take a little bit of time, but we're at this area where you can start taking 1 to 2 day swings on the short side on it. And just look and watch it, check in with it. And because we're at a very good area from a swing perspective. And you can start things intraday or 1 to 2 day swings, and then kind of hold it when it starts to work well. And there's a lot of stuff like this right now. KMX is another one of my shorts it's at a very good area. It's at the area where I was kind of waiting for it to test on this, and I never got there. So again, this is kind of the breakdown and the bottom of the former balance here. And the breakdown area where people were selling before, and you can see it's been an important area back in here, up at around 85. So again, this is one that I would just have your eyes on in this area and understand that maybe it's not the top at this exact moment, but just watch these balances as they progress, because the risk reward, again, it's pretty good. And then obviously, yeah, the best way to kind of be hedging right now, I've said this also, but long vol, because vol's at a floor here, and whether the market goes up another 100 points from here or not, and makes a new high in the next week or two, I still think vol will just keep a floor. Long vol is the easiest way to stay hedged right now, because you're very unlikely to go red on it.
Well, to interrupt you, while you're on this, on VIX, on volatility, right?
Yeah.
Can you show me how you would, if you were to just draw like 3 quick lines, right? I think a lot of us who aren't like pros like you, like I know we like to have like our own like, like way we like, I guess, make our graphs, right?
Right.
Can you just show me, if you just had 3 lines to make right now, whether that's a trend, price level, what are those 3 lines that you're going to put on this chart?
Sure.
That looks like something like this.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't really want to do TA on the VIX other than maybe a price level, but I mean, typically you're just going to draw, like on the VIX, just a former floor that it's had. But VIX is a lot more complicated than just being able to draw TA on it, but I might just draw levels, right, that it's found floors at. It's typically going to be the most important thing. I wouldn't pay attention to like gaps on it. I wouldn't pay attention to trend lines on it, because it doesn't move based off that sort of stuff. It moves based off options. So it doesn't really translate well. But I think drawing areas where it's found a floor previously can be somewhat helpful.
Okay. And when would you draw the lines? Like, I guess because I draw my lines opposite. I draw like for resistance, which is weird because I'm a bull. But I just realized when you just did this is like a bullish thing. Like, clearly you want the floor for support to go up.
Right.
Right.
Because I believe that the market's at an area where it's topping. It's going to be the top for the whole year is what I believe here. So what my idea here is that I want a long vol, because volatility is getting very low comparative to the last 6 months. You can see that this is the lowest it's been since in 2020, 2021 almost, right? So it's the lowest it's been in a year, and so my idea, right, is that volatility over the next 5 to 10 years is aggressively going to hold a higher floor because of worsening economic conditions, and it's already been happening for 4 or 5 years. And so that's my continued idea, is that vol will continue this 4 or 5 year pattern and hold higher and higher and higher. And so when volatility gets to a place, and it gets to its lowest place in the last year, that's my idea is kind of I want to be drawing the floor, because that's the long-term picture, and that's what the economic picture is showing us as well, is that volatility and uncertainty, and it should stay higher. And so that's why I kind of draw some support there.
Okay, bet.
But certainly, yeah, stay unbiased, and that's always the important thing, no matter kind of what your thesis is. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, I took UVXY from your live charting last week. It's up now.
I'm just holding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little green on it here. I think I've kind of been trading it.
Yeah, I'm like 5% on it. I bought a fuck ton of it.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna take a little time, so I'm just kind of trading it.
Oh yeah. I have a lot of it because I bought it at different levels. So
Nice.
that's the cool thing about shares. You can just put it in at a limit.
Yeah, that's nice. Any other names you guys want to cover?
I just got on my shit. I lost money today, so I haven't even opened my shit.
Today's a tough day to trade, you know?
Close it up.
Well, I'm the first 10-minute trader, so it's like in the first 10 minutes, if nothing happens, it's like my whole day is ruined.
I feel it.
And I get thirsty.
What a strategy.
I get so thirsty. I hear people like saying like, I have a post-it note that says don't buy SPX, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking knees deep in XPX same day right now.
Yeah, I didn't do it quite that extreme, but I used to.
No, but I do shares now a little bit more now.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do. Like I got in Tesla like at like 120 something. I should have got fucking more.
Yeah.
Because now I see the potential of it.
Yeah.
First 10 minutes, man.
Shares
He's
on
been a busy guy. He's got to get shit going ASAP.
Too, man. It's like this shit. I would always trade shares on shit like this back in like the rally mania.
Dude, there's no fucking rallies anymore. Like this shit's fucking annoying. Dude, I remember like off open, it used to just fucking just like giddy up.
Yeah.
Like which stock is it today?
Those were the days. Hey, what do you think about
I used
Snap?
to be there for him. I used to be like, all right, guys, we're hopping in this right off open. You remember those days?
God.
Dude, like even this.
We
like,
would sit in shit for like days.
What do you think about
something
Snap
like
though,
this,
Mo?
man. Like Lucid from fucking 11, like this is 10% on shares, dude, on like $500. You just made $50. Like,
Oh,
trade
I do
shit
want to
like
look
this,
at
not
AA.
that much money, and like you can still make you can build your account, dude. Like that's what people don't realize.
That's what I'm doing with Snap. That's why after you're done looking at AA for Dr. J, we look at Snap too. See what you think about that.
Yeah, 'cause people were talking hot shit about this shit today.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Folks. Oh yeah. That's a good spot.
But say less. That's it. That's all I need.
That is it. No analysis. You just need to get one of us there. This is it.
Because this is a share spot.
It's a good spot.
Hey, I like Roblox.
Dude, I have Roblox, but I'm too like ashamed to say that in this chat.
You want this for shorts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would say it looks pretty good for shorts. Like today was a good spot to get in for sure.
Yeah, I'm only up like a little. So.
Yeah, I mean it obviously it doesn't it's balancing, right? So yeah, it's not it doesn't tend to really trend very well, at least not recently.
Yeah, I had news.
Yeah, I like the setup for sure.
Had news and it took off and then just got clapped right back down immediately after that news.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hold on, I have to get on. It's so weird. So like my watch list on my TD, like on my Thinkorswim, doesn't look the same as like my TD app, and it's like I don't know, but I do have some for you. I have like one or two. Exactly. Oh yeah, can we look at Snap? Yeah.
Yeah, that looks pretty interesting with it's staying really elevated in volume.
I know. After earnings, man, they just started bidding it up. I got in around like 10,
Oh
50.
shit. That volume is not nice.
Yeah, I mean it looks pretty good to go higher to me. You still have it doing over 2 XR ball 4 days after the earnings, and whenever you see something like begin to move in a certain direction and then hold, and it's just holding on like high volume, like it's yeah, I mean that's bullish when when it moves up and it's holding on high volume. It's like there's a ton of auction happening and it's just holding, holding, holding. And I mean this was like a very good setup that you really should have already been in. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
do
was
think
in
that
it.
this,
I added more shares today, but I was already in it from like 10 to 1050.
yeah,
So
I would say it looks great, man. I mean, and you're moving like out of value on high volume. Obviously, it's in a larger downtrend, but like it looks like it has more room to squeeze. I think you just kind of manage it at this point.
right on.
And if it fails, then it fails. But I would say like to keep holding as much as you can.
Yeah, I thought that looked pretty good.
Okay. I guess Netflix.
Netflix is one I added short today because, well, obviously you can see, but like this was, it's just a very typical like you're approaching a major kind of area. You're at this gap area. You're at the resistance before the big gap, and longer term, believe it's kind of also been it's like been a decent level over here as well. So like to me, the long term picture, the risk reward, very good. And so I mean, this is kind of exactly the stuff I'm looking for. Is it's balancing, and it has this spike over on pretty good volume, and it gets shut back down. Like that's exactly the stuff I'm looking for. And if I'm a trader as well, it's the stuff I'm looking for. Put on shorts up here, take some off at these recent lows, take some off down here, and just see if it turns into some big swing and you can hold whatever 25-50% for like some big move down to the 50-day moving average or something. And so maybe this develops a bit more if the market does keep kind of holding and it kind of keeps holding this support or this support. Maybe we spike up one more time and come down. All that sort of stuff you have to kind of take into account, and that's why you really want to enter. Like today, you wanted to enter right on the spike back to these recent highs. Or if you look at like yesterday's action, like where did it kind of come down? Like you had this high in the morning, spike up, spike down, it kind of starts holding down here, holding down here. And at the end of the day, it's kind of that same level as the morning, and it's this day. So I mean, those are kind of a couple areas I would watch on the spike this morning, and just go down to your 1 minute or watch the tape or whatever you want to do. Opening range, it goes above the opening range, it comes down, okay, it's holding back below the opening range, I'm gonna get short against this high. Very, like, that's like 99% of how I execute it, except I'm kind of also using tape so I can really refine the entries. But, I mean, that's the idea of how I would execute this, and I think just keep looking for stuff like that. Very good setup today. I'd be swinging some most likely. Uh, and just trailing my stop and with the hopes that it goes down here. But I think it's showing the signs that this is a resistance area, and I think that we should be looking for a top on it. But you have to be careful when something's uptrending, and just make sure you manage the risk and wait for that big move for sure.
So it seems like a lot of the big names are ready for either a big move down or up, in my opinion. I think just because I'm a bull, it seems like it's going up. Like, I want to play Boeing tomorrow,
Fine.
but very long, like I'll probably get, I'm a scalper, so like I'm thinking I'm gonna get next week's, so pretty far out.
Yeah, okay.
So I have a line of support at like 207.25, right?
Mm-hmm.
And below it, it's like if I get puts on this like long term, then I'm going to be. I'm gonna quit my day job. So
Yeah. Whoops.
You feel me? Because it looks like a huge drop. It looks like a lot of it's like they won't let it die. Basically, it's almost what it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like, you'd at least get a drop, down to here, and I think you're pretty extended for major moving averages. Again, like you're in an uptrend and you're in a balance. So, I mean, to me, yeah, the swing risk reward on this is a short. Now, that doesn't mean you can't like long off this balance because it's been holding, but you just again, you just look. You have some alerts here and here, and you're watching as the price action develops. You say, okay, well, where are we opening? We're opening kind of below yesterday. We've got these kind of recent lows, and you're just watching the morning range, and you're marking a few of those relevant lows and stuff. Mark this low and mark whatever lows you need to that are kind of those big lows, and you're just watching the tiniest action. And okay, you have again like this is a very powerful setup, but just like a morning range break outside of the morning range and then a break back into it is
Wait, can I get this screenshot too? I want like all these screenshots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need this right here too. Let me get them all.
Oh,
yeah, because it just feels weird because the market should be going down. So it's just like with the volume that it has, I don't know. It just seems either ready to die or just be annoying. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's and it's just in a balance. So like markets like to stay in balance longer than they like to not be, and so it's always kind of important to note volume. Like if you saw something more like a ton of volume in pre-market, or even like a gap below this area in pre-market, and then a ton of volume in pre-market, and then it opening, the opening drive is like it maybe stays here for like 30 seconds, and then it just drives down on massive volume. Like you just get short, and you'd hold it all the way until you get down to like the 50-day, at least. Or yeah, even if it started up here and you're seeing massive volume, whether it's pre-market or like after the open. But you're doing less than half the average daily volume today, and there's not any real spike in volume here. It's very, very low. So those are pay attention to volume, pay attention if there's news that comes out and then it's like holding under a level or it breaks under a level on very high volume. Those are the times where you could expect, and this is something you should pay attention to on this stock. Looks like they already had earnings. But like, let's just look at like back maybe on this day. Like, I bet you the volume when it spiked this high was way bigger than the previous 1, 2, 3. It was about equal, a little higher than the last 3 days. I mean, you pretty much haven't had an opening spike of that much volume until earnings, since earnings. So
right.
Those opening periods of volume or pre-market volume is when you can kind of tell that something's typically going to break outside of a range, and either test a level and come back like this, or just go. To me, like, I'd be more concerned with downside because we're at resistance, rather than sitting at a support, right, or resistance. So I'd be more concerned about this thing breaking for real to the downside. But we may be sometime away from it.
Right. I was trying to get a pop up since it's at the support level.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either. And that's like something, again, like like I just showed, how you could look at it and look at that opening range, and then it has a false breakout, and then you have shorts that are trapped, and you're at a big level. Okay, and then you play it up, and you take some off, maybe like into these more recent lows. Right, you have 1, 2, 3 touches, 4 touches, 5, and then you kind of hold below it right here. So in this kind of general area, you take some off, and then you see what happens. And if it turns into a good swing all the way to the other side of balance or higher, then I'd be out at like 50% because it's down the last 4 days. And
right.
You can kind of hold and see if it maybe here take off another 25%, and then save a little bit for some sort of a breakout. But that's how I like to trade.
No, that's exactly how. Well, this is the only stock that I see that I can trade it up to a little bit highs because I see it at support. But and my real plan is to get a put, like a big one, like a big one.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, when you're looking at longer puts, like I was wondering if you could look at the trade for this, not all of the contracts, but just like what, I guess, because like I guess on what it looks like on your graph, it looks like it goes down, up and down pretty much like every month, I guess. So like how do you pick the long contracts? Like not a leap, but something with a little bit of time.
Yeah. So
Like yeah, exactly. This is what I was looking at, and I'm like, it's ready.
right.
To die.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we're at a premium. Yeah, we're at a really premium area. I think you're right. As far as picking, I mean, typically what I like to do with long-term stuff is I like to think about where's the value of the long term. So we have some value here, right? And we have some value, most of the value here, general area, right? And so I'm just thinking about it. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm trying to get, I'm getting to put, I think it's going to go down. Well, I think it's going to go down because it's not worth as much as it is. And where do people think it's worth over the last 2 years since it had some really major fundamental news, right? And there's been major fundamental news since here, right? So where do people think is good value since there? And so I'll cut off the volume profile. So this actually works out perfect that it's about 3 years. And this is the area. So if I'm picking a strike for a put, I want to pick this. I want to pick around 170 to 175. That's going to be my right strike I would pick. And then
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I've been fucking wondering. I'm just like, how do you like calculate this shit? Because like I mean,
for sure get more into like Greeks and make sure you're not getting something that's. I don't really look at the Greeks. I kind of just understand how far I need to go. Like
yeah,
I don't want to be like, okay, it's fair values at 90. I'm gonna pick a 90 strike for next month. Like I kind of just understand like you can't go too far out and you need to buy some time, but you can definitely look more into the Greeks and get more of like a mathematical answer to that question. But that's typically how I would pick my strikes. And then, if I'm looking for a drop in the next month or so, I'm going to buy 3-4 months of time. I'd probably go with June's or July's.
June's or July.
You could always go like, okay, well, maybe it just comes down to like, I don't know, this area here, the top of the balance, and I want to get a 190 strike for like 2 months out and see if that works. But yeah, for a swing, I'd go at least 2 months because you don't really want to hold swings under a month if they're a long swing. Under a month till expiration, this is your theta starts getting pretty bad.
Okay. Got it. But yeah, I see some tasty ones right now. So.
Yeah, that's a good setup, man. I think that's a good one to pay attention to.
Yeah, I like it. And it's been in a couple plan plays recently, so.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff like this out there, and a lot of big names that are kind of starting.
Everybody's downing Nvidia, but I know after its earning, it's gonna go up. That's my secret call right now.
Nvidia?
Yeah, just because I use it every day. Like our dental scanning software is run by Nvidia, even though they're a gaming software.
Yeah, they're good stock. They've been definitely slowing a little bit with their growth, but I still think, man, long term they're a great company to own. I'd probably like them. As far as like big growth, I think they're probably second to Tesla only. I mean, I think they're a great growth company for sure.
Oh, did you already do Tesla? Oh, I think that's one of Wax's plays, actually.
I briefly kind of just said I think that there's a good setup here for upside in the short term because we're kind of at these highs here. And it just seems kind of natural with this big of a level to kind of spike these highs. And the way it's been acting the last couple days, again, it's a little more risky and I would size lightly on it. But we basically have this balance in the short term from here. I mean, you can see it on the right side that it's kind of from here. Oops. Come on. Click. it's basically from here kind of down to there. We kind of came up, we failed to close above it, then we kind of closed at it. So like here, 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 right at this area, right around 191, 190. We keep seeing these lows hold. And so I'm thinking maybe we try to spike 200. I kind of introduced that potential for a spike of 200, maybe up in this 205 region, and then see if it holds. If it ends up holding, my expectation is that it might like spike it and kind of come down back below 200. So it's kind of be an intraday trade. But if it ends up holding and sitting above like this 202, 203 area and kind of just holding and performing well and it doesn't stop, well, maybe we'll go test one of these major moving averages and these highs up in 220, 225. So there's potential there for that. I think you just need to be careful with managing like a trailing stop and make sure that you don't hold it if it starts not working. But I could see that little spike happening for sure.
Dr. J,
Yeah. What
go
else?
hit I'm interested thing on the Tahiti event.
Oh yeah, I can do that. Okay, and then alright, but and earnings this week is nothing
Hey,
good.
what do we have this week? Nothing?
Well, I mean, it's Uber and then PayPal, but PayPal looks like a short. So
Pins today, what did they do? Oh, nice. I sold all my pins. This is kind of, I was buying it for so long down in here, and its fair value is probably around 26, 27. I kind of sold it all, but that's interesting. Wow, it really got bought all the way. That's not. I'd probably trade this tomorrow. It's pretty liquid, and it typically moves pretty well.
Yeah, I was definitely looking to trade that tomorrow after they bought it back off the earnings.
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't read the report at all, but
let's see.
after the spot where there were maybe some big trap sellers in here at these lows, right in here. I don't know if it'll get back down there, but it's maybe a spot to watch.
Let's see.
And you kind of have these highs. I've just kind of watched those two areas, honestly. Like I prefer longs. Like if it's over these highs, I'd prefer longs. And if it's not, then I'd probably just stay away from the thing. But unless you're kind of experienced with quick shorting, but I'd say like that 27 area, today's lows.
Okay.
Yeah, the ATVI down a lot today.
Yeah, Disney earnings should
Oh,
be interesting
shit.
too, because that'll affect Netflix a little bit, most likely. Normally we see them trade in tandem somewhat.
When's Disney?
Wednesday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, Disney's usually pretty good. You got Robinhood, you got Uber, EMPH.
Robinhood's gonna probably present some good shit.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
really
got on the
interested in
other
that
day,
EMPH.
and the app looks completely different. I was like just checking on some crypto, and oh my god.
Check down a lot.
That ENPH, man, that was like one of the best freaking tickers you handed out in a charting session, well, for short. That thing was, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm still short some.
Are you?
Yeah, I want this thing to go down to fucking here. I wanted to cut these lows, man.
Yeah, that shit's been nice.
Yeah, I
dude.
sold like 75%, I think, and then I shorted some back on this pop. I'm just kind of holding a few shares, not anything crazy. My big shorts are like Netflix and got Netflix, I think. KMX, I built up pretty big on that rally.
But I have a question on Disney.
Yeah.
For something like Disney that usually has good earnings or like okay earnings, and it's at like a major level right now, doesn't it look ready to break out?
Break out of what?
The downtrend that's in right now. I'm a trend guy, but I'm clearly realizing I probably should get out of that. But damn.
Like, does it look like it's ready to break out? I mean, I don't know. This, like, it's not even balancing. Like, what is it breaking out of? I mean,
Well, I guess my question is like it's kind of it's at the level where it should break right now. And so, what do you do like when things have earnings? You feel me? But they're at the level of breaking the day before. If that makes sense.
well, I don't trade earnings. I would just trade after it. But like,
Well, if you did trade earnings,
I mean, well, I don't. So I but yeah, I mean, it's I don't make money by trading earnings. I make money by just seeing what it does after the earnings, reading the report, and then focusing on those important levels. It's a lot easier to make money, but I don't know. I don't see this as that clean of like a breakout setup. I get what you're saying. How like it's a long.
no, I'm not saying that it is going to break out.
Yeah.
I'm just giving my thought process because I'm like, oh, it's the day before, so like, of course, like they're gonna pump it the day of.
I mean, to me, like, man, if like it just depends. I read the report, and then I would say, yeah, if it's holding like above, I would say around this area, maybe a little lower.
I have like 110.
I would, yeah,
Above
I'd say,
110,
around
it's great.
110. Like if it's holding really well, and like the pre-market action and the post-market action is really clean, like let's just say it like kind of pops up here, and I mean that's where like the recent action also comes into play. Like okay, you have this balance from here to here that it was just in, and it kind of held under it today. Whatever, like let's say earnings were tomorrow in pre-market, and it popped up there, and it's holding right here, and it's holding right here, and it's holding right above both of these, and it has high volume, or it's like riding VWAP right here, and like won't go below VWAP. Like those are scenarios. It has a little opening range, and it like pops down here, bounces. Like that's I'd be getting long.
Okay, that's all I was asking. Okay, bet.
Yeah, and then and then if the action looks like that pre-market and the report is good and it's strong and you're kind of moving outside of all this volume, it's really dependent, I think, on how it's kind of acting in that moment, and then the setup that presents itself once the market opens. If that all looks good and it looks like a breakout day and a trend day, then I would be like, okay, yeah, this could break out. But I wouldn't really gamble on earnings.
This is just so weird because a lot of the big names, I'm such a big bull, they just look ready in my eyes to break out. So
why are you such a big bull?
just because like I look at the dailies, I look at like the yearly, the monthly, and then like the daily, you know, to see like my support levels personally. And I look at a weird day trading time. So I look at like a 15-day 3-minute, right? And it's done me pretty well.
That's cool. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know. It just seems like a lot of the bigger names look like they have support right here, and I'm like, and like Q's has a little bit of volume. You know what I mean? So
yeah, fair enough, man.
like Q's looks ready. Q's looks way better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure, man. We're just uptrending. I mean, I just think the area we're at, it's risky to be too confident in longs. But you know, it's really just an area where I'm observing. Like I'm not really too big of a bull or a bear. I'm watching all these balances because we're at kind of critical resistances. But yeah, the market's trending up and it's strong. And typically for the next week or two, the market is strong. And so I don't disagree with you that like longs are fine to focus on. I just think you got to be careful as the market is balancing here and trending slightly down that you just pay attention to how it acts. Pay attention to if we do end up losing like 4,100 on ES. Like, if that starts to happen, then you can be like, okay, well, this is weird. Like maybe the uptrend is not working and it's kind of failing here. But I don't see anything wrong with continuing to be bullish here on a lot of these names. It's a very slight pullback on a lot of stuff, slight balances. But yeah, the major trends are up, man. I would just kind of pay attention to if something changes because we're getting towards some areas where, price has not liked to trade above in the last 6 months on some names.
Yeah, correct. Like to me, like I'm not a bull in terms of like long term up. Like I feel like we just trade in consolidation, like a zone.
Yeah.
So I just try to catch the zone, basically. And I feel like we're at the bottom of one right now. So like we're going up or we're going very down. It's like so. Either one I would love to catch. Preferably, I don't know, it's just easier for me to play calls.
Yeah.
So.
I feel it. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out.
All right. Yeah,
Appreciate you, Mo.
Appreciate y'all coming in.
Yeah, appreciate you, boss.